Alright, welcome to this video. This is going to be on making sheet music less intimidating, not being afraid of singing the musical notes. As you see, I'm saying there are only 7 notes here, and that's something really good to keep in mind, that we can make this really simple, and we can also make this really complex. So this is going to be a video that you're going to be able to come back to as you begin to understand this topic more, because I'm going to start very simple and I'm going to build up from there. Later on in the video, I'm going to explain some more complex stuff and give you some things that you can look up in your free time to study and understand sheet music more. But again, we're going to start very simple. A lot of people, even well-known musicians, cannot read sheet music. This is a well-known thing, and the whole thing about it is sheet music is actually extremely easy to read. Like anything, it starts simple and then it grows and it can become more and more complex. So people usually see sheet music written by a composer that has many years of study and practice doing things that are way beyond the reader's comprehension. So they don't actually understand what they're reading because what they're reading is beyond what they've even studied, what they even understand in terms of what you can do with music. And a lot of this has to do with the marks that you can put on the notes and the different keys you can be in. Things start to get a little complex. So you almost have to study those things when you start reading more complex music. So because of all this, it's no wonder that people think reading sheet music is so difficult, because they're normally seeing something that's beyond what they even understand. So if you start really simple, like I'm going to show you in this video, you'll see that it's a lot less scary, it's easy to comprehend, and you will see the potential for how this can grow into more complex areas once you start to understand those topics. If you already understand music theory and stuff, then this is going to be a breeze, and you, like I'm saying, are only going to have to know the placement of 7 different notes, because there are only 7 notes in music. A through G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it goes to A again. Okay, so you only have 7 notes. Of course, you can have sharps and you can have flats, and that's where knowledge of music theory comes in. So why is reading sheet music so useful anyway? Why would you even want to know this? Well, first off, you're going to be able to study any score you want. A lot of jazz music is going to be written in score, so if you're a fan of jazz music, you can read the jazz music. And of course, classical music is written down. You can do things like study Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. Being able to do this is a big deal for any aspiring music connoisseur. Past this, you're going to be able to write down ideas that you have. From here, you can easily add harmony to them and more, and simply doing all this on a piece of paper. This means that you're going to be able to write music anywhere you go. There's a lot more reasons why reading music is useful, but the last one I'm going to mention is that simply learning how to read music, then furthermore studying in it and advancing in it, will help you understand music more. It's just another avenue for thought processes about music. Plus, it serves as a method that is extremely organized and easy to work with once you understand it. Okay, so let's start simple. How are we going to do this? Well, to start off, we should start off with only one clef. We could start off with the treble clef or the bass clef. First, I'm going to go over the treble clef because it's more common, and then I'll teach the bass clef after in the same video. So for some reason you are playing an instrument that uses the bass clef, and that would be easier for you to learn that first, then just skip to that portion of the video and you'll see me explaining the notes and the bass clef. When you're practicing, you want to keep it separate. So in the very beginning, if this is new to you, you want to separate them so you don't get confused, because they are very similar. So you want to isolate and really study the treble clef. When you're not messing up anymore and you understand it, then you can move on to the next one. Of course, if you started with the bass clef, it'd be the same idea. You start on the first one and you make sure that you're not going to make any mistakes when you quickly look at it and you try to guess what note you're looking at, and you see a note written on a certain place of the staff of that clef that you're studying. And like a lot of things in life, this doesn't have to do with how many days you put into it, more has to do with the time you put into it. So you can put a lot of time into this in a short period of weeks or months and really get to learn this really quickly. So here we are going to start with the treble clef. Okay, so the first thing to comprehend is that each of these lines is going up a third. And it doesn't matter if it's a minor third or a major third, because it can be either one of those. The difference of it being a minor or major third has to do with the scale you're using. So that's where the music theory knowledge comes in, but just trying to make it really simple at first, everything is by thirds. And what a third means is that you're going up from one note up to the next note that's 3 away, and you're counting the first note as 1. So if you have an A, a third up from that would be C, because you have A, B, and then C, your third note. That's a third. If you go up a third from C, you have E, because C, D, E. That's all a third is. Okay, now to memorize the circle of thirds, we just have to know one really simple saying, and it makes sense. Every good band deserves fans and cash. Would you agree with this? And because it's something that actually makes sense, this is something that's going to be easy to memorize, because you can just think, okay, every good band deserves fans and cash. And if you don't realize what this is doing, this is showing you every third. So if you look at the beginning letter of every word, we have an E, G, B, D, F, A, C. And that's also another way you can memorize this, E, G, B, D, F, A, C. And it's good to do kind of funny things to help you memorize this. So you can even say GBD face. And if you see, it repeats. So you could say GBD face, because you have F-A-C-E that spells the word face. That's going to come in handy in a second here. Okay, so now let's use this knowledge to our advantage. I'm here using MuseScore. It's free. It's MuseScore 4. It's really convenient, especially if you want to learn reading music and stuff like that. Okay, so now we're just going to think the circle of thirds. And we're going to start in this first line here. Every good band deserves fans. And we're just going to do that because this is just teaching you each one of these lines. So as you see, it just goes up a third every time. E, G, B, D, F. So as you can imagine, the note that would be the line above this, because you can always go a line above, would be A. Okay, and the same thing with this first note here, since we have E, and this repeats. If you think of what would be below this, you got to think of what would come before the E. So we see cash, every good, because it repeats. So we have C-E. I was also saying F-A-C-E in here spells the word face. So now when we look at the spaces of the treble clef, we just have to spell the word face starting in this first space from the bottom. F-A-C-E. Face. Okay, and since this is going up a third every line, and every space to space is going up a third, that means when you just go up one from a line to the next space, it's always going to be a second. In other words, it's just the next letter in the alphabet. So first we have an E, then we have an F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, so now that you know these notes, you know what's going to be above and below them. Again, on the first one, we have every good band deserves fans. So not only do we know that A is going to be above this because we have fans and F-A, but we know that above this F is going to be a G because the next letter in the alphabet is G. Also, it only goes A through G, so we can also think above that next G. I'll actually have the note here, the G that would be in that space above that last F there. We know that above that G would then be an A because that's the next letter in the music alphabet. So this is where it's all really simple, and it's actually not that difficult at all.